All right, hello everybody. I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. It looks like we have at least one other person here, so that's good. Um, hope everybody's having a good time tonight. If you can like and share the stream, that would truly be appreciated. Um, See if we can get some more friendly people in here. At least we got a. Okay, anyway, let me just take care of this real quick. Alrighty then. So with that, yeah. So, anyways, um, all right. I'm going to go take care of something real quick, and I'll be right back. Hopefully, everybody will have Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey. All right, I'm back. Just had to take care of some things real quick. Let's see. Hey Diane. Thanks for dropping in. Hey, all right. Thank you for dropping in there. Hopefully you've already liked it here. Okay, so what's on tap for tonight? Since we have like four people in here, might as well get started a little early. So we got like four articles we're gonna go through tonight. And as always, guys, of course, if anything catches your attention or you want to have any questions, feel free to ask. We got basically four articles. Three of the four will be comics related. So one of them anime related. The first two articles are from Bounding into Comics. First one of which I was kind of brought to my attention by Yellow Class. Um, and then we'll draw the wrestling wrap up later in the show, as well as the series history. So with four people here, and we're already set for attention. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Go ahead and get started. First article we're gonna go over this one. In an obvious case of indoctrination here. This is the first article we're going to talk about here. Um, and I know everybody's been hearing about. I know, actually, was it Yellow? Actually, it was actually Comic Crow, not Yellow Flash. I think Flash also talked about this too. Flash and Crow both talked about this. Okay, DC saved by the Bell Reed one shot. See Super Sons John Kent and Damian Wayne learn about being non-binary. Yeah, as those of us who grew up at a different time, so this is really what we think kids should be exposed to, right? Basically, this is a definite case of indoctrination. Article by Spencer Cooley, published last Friday the 2nd. So here we go. Like I said, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to chime in, and I will try to answer the questions as I can. Comments as you fit. Anyways, let's get to this. While a new story featuring the original child-age incarnations of the Super Sons was lauded as a major selling point for DC's recently released Saved by the Bell Reed comic, the pair's return centered on not on their relationship or plot lines, but rather their introduction to an education on the concept of non-binary identity. So that's a real groundbreaking thing to put into a comic. Uh, yeah, let's lecture people about what being non-binary is. That's really what everybody wants to read in a comic, right? Uh, Hitting shelves on August 31st, which was uh, last Wednesday. The funnily titled One Shot uh, presents readers with an anthology of school-themed stories set across the DCU, such as one wherein the Suicide Squad must pose as educators in order to protect Politics' son. Another, which sees Batgirl and Nightwing ambushed by Mr. Freeze on prom night, and a new Gotham Academy. Now, mind you, one of the things that even Crow, I think, pointed out too is this story really didn't have anything to do with back to school or any real conflict. The particular stories they're talking about was just used to indoctrinate the reader into non-binary so that nobody can see. Okay? As noted above, one particular story which sparked anticipation for the issue with a new feature, it was a new tale featuring John Kent and Damian Wayne. It's penned by original series writer and concept creator Peter J. Tomasi, which was set to debut within its pages. However, little did readers know that the story would focus on a new addition to their social circle rather than the titular offspring of the world's finest. Now, obviously, the Super Sons concept is not anything new. They have written stories about the Super Sons. You know, there was actually, in fact, originally when Super Sons came out back in the 60s, they were actually on another Earth entirely. You know, an Earth that saw, of course, Clark married Lois, and Bruce married Selena, and then you had basically Clark Kent Jr. and Bruce Wayne Jr., who would become Superman and Batman. Great. So, but In this modern era, now they're dealing with, they're not even that. There's some panels from the titled Back to School. The story follows John and Damien as they start they they return from summer break and start their first day of the new school year at the West Reed Academy, named after the iconic actors who portrayed the Dark Knight on television and the Man of Steel on film. Adam West and Christopher Reeve, respectively, of course, trying to really lock in the identity there, trying to you know. Anyways, eventually making it to their first lunch break of the year, the two take notice of a new pink-haired student sitting alone in the cafeteria. Wishing to extend a warm welcome, John moves to invite the new kid over to eat with him and his friends. However, before he can get out of the seat, the lone student has a tray of food dumped on them by a pair of bullies. Rescued from further trouble by John and Damien, before in turn pulling them away from a potential fist fight. The new kid proceeds to introduce themselves to the pair, and without prompting, either of them reveals that they identify as non-binary. So, yeah, so, this is, now, here's the thing, too. A couple of little factors. One, in a lot of the earlier Superboy stories of the Silver Age, mom and pop can't get often try to tell Clark not try to be very careful with things. So, that's why he couldn't like join the football team or anything like that. That would be like an unfair chance. He was he had superpowers that would help us be better. Most here, and it would not be a good idea for even if he's only half crypto, it would not be a good idea for him to get into a fist fight. But he probably ended these kids with one punch. You Anyways, oh, last year I changed my name to Sydney. Explains the Coast City transfer. But I felt the name my parents gave me was locked into a traditional gender that I really didn't feel was who I am. I'm non-binary. Should be noted that there are no clues, visual or in the text, as to Sydney's birth gender. So Sydney could be used as kind of a non-binary name because there have been guys and girls who both were named Sydney. Sydney is traditionally more of a guy's name. Even most of Sydney's I hear of who are older are usually like old men. They're either old men or redheaded women. That's what I think. The rest of their afternoon reads like a gender FAQ as Sydney spends the next 5 panels detailing to the Super Sons the concept of both non-binary identity and pronouns. Yeah, as many people said, this was used to as a form of propaganda, LGBTQIA propaganda, a form of indoctrination here to sort of educate the reader on non-binary identity. Um, because in the real world, a lot of this stuff would, if those, even at a private school, those kids were caught doing that kind of bullying, they would have probably been expelled or something, especially in today's world. Anyway, so let's see. Oh, we got some. Okay. Will you go to Rhode Island? No, I won't. What's your favorite occupation? I have no idea. The end of the thing was not that I can remember. Diane, I wanted to drop in and say hello. I am off to bed now. Okay, thank you, Diane. I saw that you did come in earlier. Um, thank you. I know this particular story isn't all that affirming, but it is one of the news items out there. It's another example of how the woke mainstream media is trying to indoctrinate. So, anyway, thank you for dropping in and liking, sharing the stream. Hopefully, we can get some more people in here. Uh, Caitlin Moore, a good voice. As far as I know, she's pretty good. I've been hearing her lately on Exo Squad as Lieutenant Colonel O'Reilly. And I know she was Evil Win in the He-Man series of the early 2000s. So I don't. Anyways, excuse me a moment while I go off to for. I'll be right back, folks. All right. Anyways, getting back to the article here. The rest of their afternoon read. Okay, we already read that part. Quote: Some people feel they're a mix of both genders. Unquote. Their new companion tells them. Quote: While others don't feel like they identify with either gender. Unquote. Turning to themselves, Sydney asserts, quote, I identify with both, unquote, before confirming that as such, quote, I use they, them pronouns, unquote. Quote, some non binary people like me use the gender-neutral pronouns they and them instead of he, or he, him, unquote. They tell the curious pair. Like this is something that I'm sure that Clark, Lois, Bruce, and and Selena are all going to be real, or well, I guess not. I guess it would be Talia actually. Are going to be real happy that their kids are being exposed to this. Over the next few days, John and Damien both reach out to Sydney in their own unique ways, with the former lending an ear to their problems, and the latter teaching them hand-to-hand combat techniques so they can defend themselves should the bully strike again. So John is basically lending a sympathetic ear, and Damien is showing him how to defend himself. Again, not that in of itself. That's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. But using comics as a way of indoctrinating people is just screwed, outright screwed. Sure enough, the next day, the two lunch fillers returned to harass Sydney, this time hurling insults explicitly directed towards their non-binary identity, giving them a mashed potato mustache and declaring, quote, "You can play Santa," or maybe you'd prefer Mrs. Claus, before plopping a mop on their head and teasing, quote, "Long hair is definitely you. Make up your mind, girl or guy." Now, the thing is, I know when Comic Crow was going over this article earlier today, that when I was watching his video on it earlier today, um, he was pointing out in the real world this would not be, especially in today's society, this would not be allowed. This at the especially at a private school like this would get these bullies expelled almost immediately. Likelihood, and the thing is that because of all this, the LGBTQIA always get to play the victim here, and they have a lot more protection than people realize. The bullies would be at the very least expelled, and they'd be open to potential hate crime prosecution as well. So I just go to show. In response, rather than turning the other cheek, Sydney puts into practice the moves they learned from Damien, letting loose two hits which knocked both bullies down to the ground in seconds flat. Walking away from the scene, John quips to his new friend, quote, "Guess you decided not to turn the other cheek," unquote. Who counters, quote, "I decided to turn theirs this time around," unquote. Now, the thing is, for those of you who may not know, the concept of turning the other cheek comes from the Bible. It's the idea is, in the Bible, Jesus had stated, if somebody should smack you on the one cheek, then turn the other one to let them smack down the other. It's like instead of countering violence with violence, the idea is you counter violence with love and patience, tolerance. They smack you on the one cheek, you give them the other one. The idea is you counter hate with love. You counter violence with love. I know a lot of secularists out there will be like, "You're kidding me, right? You don't just let people beat on you." And there's that human part of us that I'm sure we all want to retaliate when somebody does us wrong. There are times we want to retaliate when somebody does somebody else wrong too. But if you're a Christian, you're called to love your brother, even when your brother is treating you like you're a piece of garbage. Again, just giving perspective there. Let's see, going as their jacket gives way to a shirt which features the words, quote, not he, not she, just me, printed above the non-binary gender symbol. Again, just a way for them to, again, you know, indoctrinate people into that lifestyle. So, PC's Saved by the Bell Read is on sale now. So that's all for that particular article. So get ready to move on to the next one here, which is the anime article of the night. And then hopefully a little bit better here. This one I think is more of a release type situation. Let's see. Yeah. Alrighty then. So let's get to this next article here. Alrighty then. Netflix reveals Cyberpunk Edge Runners release date with new fast-paced trailer. Article by Nerdigans published this past Saturday the 3rd. So, the sun is setting. The machines are warming up. The curtain is about to rise on Netflix and Project Red's upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 anime spin-off Cyberpunk Edge Runners. You're remembered by how you die. Okay, quite a created in collaboration with world-renowned animation studio Trigger, who of course did Kill la Kill, SSSS, Gridman, Dyna Xenon. The animated take on the world of CD Projekt Red's 2020 RPG revolves around a street kid named David Martinez, who must fight to survive amongst the seedier elements of Night City. Along the way, David will find himself teaming with and fighting against a number of the Metropolis's body mod obsessed citizens, including the eponymous Edge Runners, an anime exclusive title given to those who use their technological enhancements to work outside the law and overthrow huge corporations. Released on August 30th, so a week ago, Trigger's latest trailer for the series gives fans their first extended glimpses into the lives of David, who is voiced in the Japanese by Kenichiro Ohashi, who voiced Judai Yuki, or as we know him, Jaden Yuki in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and Netrunner Lucy, voiced in Japanese, voiced by Aoi Yuki, who was Mabel in Uncle from Another World, a highly sought-after tech adept who wants nothing more than to escape Night City and her dangerous past. Interesting story. Opening with David and Lucy sitting on a rooftop, the trailer begins with the former recounting his life story, telling his companion about his childhood living in a struggling single-parent household with his mom, and admitting that he remains in the city because living within its walls was her dream. So he's sticking around for his mom. From the sounds of it. The scene then cuts to a montage of various action scenes interspread among an intense sequence depicting David giving his body over to cybernetic modification and becoming an edge runner. Wow. Amidst the intense gunshots and explosions of the montage, the trailer showcases some of the series' secondary cast, including David's aforementioned mother, who was voiced by Yurika Hino, who played Mei Terumi in Naruto Boruto. Now, for those of you who may not know, Mei Terumi, of course, was she was the sixth Mizukage in there, the redhead who had like vapor and volcanic abilities, who appears courtesy of a glitch. Military vet turned mercenary Main, voiced in the Japanese by Hiroki Tochi, who is Estarossa who is the Japanese voice of Estarossa in the Seven Deadly Sins, a solo edge runner equipped with the projectile launch system Cyberwave, whose aspirations of quote making it big unquote are held back by his own prioritizing of his crew over gaining glory unquote. Pilar, voiced in the Japanese by Wataru Takagi, who is, of course, Zeus in regular Ragnarok. And I believe Wataru Takagi, I've seen that name quite a few times, too. He's been in a few things. You know, a comical and crude techie edge runner who, alongside his sister, can usually be found teaming up with Maine and his crew to do mercenary jobs. And Rebecca, who is a character voiced by Tomoyo Kurosawa, who voiced the young Vash the Stampede and Trigun Stampede. Pilar's spunky, trigger-happy solo edge runner of a sister. The intense, almost fever dream-esque trailer, waking from what is ostensibly one of the cyberpunk franchise's brain dances, gasping for air as 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 a man looks over and whispers in his ear, quote, psycho, isn't it? All right, so continuing on then. No, we didn't want that. Anyways, additionally, CD Projekt Red, Netflix, and Trigger also unveiled a brand new key visual featuring the headshot of Lucy. So that's Lucy right there. Wow, she's kind of a looker. A lot of us single guys wouldn't probably mind being seduced by her. All 10 episodes of Cyberpunk Edge Runners are set to debut on Netflix on September 13th, which is 1 week from today. So there we go with that one. So those are the two articles we have from Bounding into Comics. I went pretty quickly, too. Huh. Yes, Good man. Alrighty then. So, anyways, we get ready to move on to the next set of a couple of stories here. Um, all right. So here we go with the next article coming up here. Now this is comics slightly. There's um, also a manga related story, but it's a release of a pretty popular manga. And if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Anyways, getting into this here. Hunter x Hunter creator confirms completion of manga's next volume. So Hunter x Hunter is a very popular manga over in Japan. It's been made into a couple of anime series. Good, good series. I highly recommend it for anybody who likes special, superpowers and all that. So, anyways, here we go. Hunter x Hunter creator Yoshihiro Togashi confirms work on the acclaimed manga's long-awaited next volume is all but complete. And as always, guys, of course, if you have anything you'd like to add to the conversation, ask questions or anything like that, feel free to do so. I'll answer them as I can. The article by Noah Dominguez published 18 hours ago. So, Hunter x Hunter creator Yoshihiro Togashi has all but confirmed that the acclaimed manga's extended hiatus is nearly over. On Twitter, Togashi announced that, save for one double-page spread, work on the long-awaited next volume of Hunter x Hunter is complete. The book work, quote, the book work is complete except for one double-page spread, unquote, the mangaka wrote, translated from Japanese. Mangaka just simply means, basically comic creator. Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter, the journey so far. All right, written and illustrated by Togashi, who's also known as the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho, one of my all-time favorite animes, by the way. Hunter x Hunter has been serialized in Japanese publisher Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump since 1998. So, yeah, okay. Meanwhile, Viz Media publishes the manga in Shonen Jump, its English language equivalent of Shueisha's magazine. To date, 36 collected volumes of Hunter x Hunter have been released in both Japanese and English. That said, since 2006, the manga has been known to go on lengthy hiatuses and is currently on its longest one yet. Now, granted, and we reported on this maybe a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, I think, where it was revealed Togashi was having some health issues. In fact, from what I understand, if I remember correctly, I don't know if it was him who was dealing with some like back issues to where he couldn't sit. You know, the only way he could write was like by lying down. He couldn't write in a seated position. You know, something about an issue with his hips or something like that. This is the same person I'm thinking of. Anyways, Shueisha published the first collected volume of Hunter x Hunter in June of 1998. The Viz publishing its English language version of the volume in April 2005. Most recently, Hunter x Hunter, volume 36, consisting of chapters 371 through 380, released in Japanese in October 2018, and in English in August of 2019. Chapters 381 to 390, so they do like 10 chapters at a time. That's pretty big. Was serialized in weekly Shonen Jump from September 2018 to November 2018. Though have yet to be collected. The additional chapters of Hunter x Hunter have been released since, though Togashi has been sure to keep the readers updated since creating a Twitter account earlier this year. Of course, manga is not the only way to experience Hunter x Hunter. In 1999, the series received its first anime adaptation, which ran for 62 episodes through 2001. Yes, and I've watched the English version of that, which was done by the Blue Water Studios crew. You know, with Eleanor, with the main characters being voiced by Eleanor Holt doing on the English side of it, doing Gon, Annika Attica doing Kahlua, Cheryl McMaster doing Karapika, and then Leorio being done by Jonathan Love. So I thought that was a good series. I liked that. And then Brendan Hunter having to do the Ahsoka, the psychotic Hunter. Let's see. Anime was followed up by 3 original video animations that ran for an additional 30 episodes in total from 2002 to 2004. And all new Hunter x Hunter anime premiered in Japan 2011, adapting the manga from the very beginning. The anime ran for 148 episodes, including in 2014. And of course, Adult Swim did show that. Like the 99 version went up to the Yorkview City arc. The one in 2011 went all the way up to the Chimera Ant arc. So, and you have had some anime like that where it's been split up in part because certain series are only done to a certain point because that's where they were in the manga, and they usually like to try to keep the manga ahead of the anime by at least a few months, or maybe a couple of years or so. Let's see. All right. In English, its English release ran from 2016 to 2019. As I said, on Adult Swim, and the 2011 series is actually dubbed by Bang Zoom. It was dubbed by Bang Zoom. Hunter x Hunter volumes 1 to 36 are now on sale from Viz Media via Twitter. Okay, there we go with that one. Okay, I'm gonna step away from my computer for a quick moment here. I'll be right back. Music on for you guys. Alright, I'm back. I'm back. I'm better than ever. Okay. So now, alrighty then. So we got one more article to go through. It thus far been kind of a slow news. Even if I had done, you know, news stories yesterday, it would probably not have been much different. Because what the two stories in Bounding and Comics I did were both there yesterday. So, anyways, I hope some of you will go back to last night and we'll have a chance to watch RJ and I talk. We talked quite a bit about, you know, this time of year, with those of us who grew up back in those who grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, grew up watching, Saturday morning cartoons and looking forward to this time of year when the new cartoons would come up. So, anyways, all right. Well, anyways, let's get back to the. All right, the last article we're gonna go over tonight. All right, I'm gonna go off camera here one more time for a moment. I'll be right back. I will go ahead and leave you guys some. Right. There we go. All right, everybody is finally registered. Okay. Alrighty then. So, anyways, let's get to this next article. First out, let me do this quick here. Alrighty then. Do that. Let's get to this. Oh, oops. Oh, there you are. Hey, RJ. Um, hooray for Batman Day. I'm gonna wear my costume into work. Okay. I didn't realize you were because you weren't saying anything, RJ. Anyways, Yeah, so hopefully you caught some of the other stuff earlier. All right, so with that being said, then DC celebrates Batman Day with free comics full length podcast. Um, DC is celebrating Batman Day by giving fans free comics and releasing the first season of Batman: The Audio Adventures on all podcast platforms. Article by Brendan Schwer, published 7 hours ago. So look at that one, huh? Alrighty then. Okay. Oh, Robert Roberts is here. Hello. Every day is Batman Day. Yep, Robert. Well, if you haven't already, if you can give me a like and a share, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. And as always, guys, of course, comments and questions are always welcome. As long as, of course, they're about the subject at hand. Anyways, DC is celebrating Batman Day later this month by releasing free comics and the entirety of Batman: The Audio Adventures first season. On September 17th, DC will celebrate Batman Day by providing fans with free comics at participating comic book shops. Hey RJ, maybe when you do your LCS show this Friday, you can ask Michael and the guys if they're going to be participating in that. That'll be interesting to see. And anyways, it looks like I may need to do some lighting adjustments here, so I'll be going off camera for just a quick moment. I'll be right back, guys. Just gotta take care of some lighting issues here. I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Let's continue on with the article here. Um, all right. All right. Okay. Titles available include Batman Hush #1, Batman Day Special by writer Jeff Loeb and artist Jim Lee, and Batman Mystery Casebook, Batman Day Special Edition by writer Shawley Fish and artist Christopher Uminga. All right. Interesting names there. Let's see. Now, RJ, I don't know if you caught earlier, but I also covered the Bounce Comics article about Saved by the Bell Reed, the propaganda story. Anyway, Batman Hush #1, Batman Day Special celebrates the 20th anniversary of the iconic Hush storyline from 2002. Synopsis reads, quote, in honor of Batman Day, DC presents a special edition of 2002's Batman #608, the first chapter of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's seminal 12-part mystery spanning Gotham City and Dark Knight's greatest foes. Who is Hush? And why does he want revenge on Bruce Wayne? It all starts here. Unquote. To further celebrate the anniversary, DC will release a brand new Batman Hush 20th anniversary hardcover edition hardcover this October, which collects Batman 608 to 619, and a story from Wizard number 10. Batman's Mystery Casebook, Batman Day Special Edition, previews Fish and Uminga's new graphic novel for middle grade readers, ages 8 to 12. The synopsis for Batman's Mystery Casebook reads, quote, Batman is a great detective, but he rarely works alone. His sidekicks Robin and Batgirl, his butler Alfred, and the police of Gotham City all play a role in helping him keep his city safe. You can too. Look for clues, analyze evidence, solve riddles, learn history, help the Batman as he goes on his adventures, and see if you can spot the answers to these mysteries before he logs them into his casebook. So this is kind of an interesting one. That's kind of an interesting interactive, comic there. Much akin to the Golden Age stuff that we read. You've read. So to further celebrate Batman Day, DC has also released the first season of Batman the Audio Adventure on all podcast platforms. Previously available exclusively on HBO Max, Batman the Audio Adventures is written and directed by Dennis McNicholas and features a vocal cast which includes the Batman's Jeffrey Wright, the Book of Boba Fett's Rosario Dawson, and I think she was also, she may have also been in John Baker Thomas. That's fire. Wow. Premiere later this fall. DC has also announced a Batman the Audio Adventures is getting a limited series comic tie-in from Anthony Marquise and Dennis McNichols, which launches on September 27th. So there we go. That's all the articles for tonight. Hey, Timothy. Hey, Max. Long time no see, man. Hey, Max. Thank you for returning. Hope you'll be around more. We just got done with all the articles, so but we will be getting into the wrestling wrap-up here in a moment. A lot of big stuff happened over this weekend. Has had a couple of big pay-per-views. There's a lot of stuff coming out of AEW. Well, let me see. So I'm going to go off camera for another quick moment here. I'm going to take care of something real quick, and then I'll be right back. So hopefully you'll all stick around. I'll get back here. see. Danhausen. Well, yeah, Danhausen's a part of AEW, but that's not the big story coming out of AEW. So let me just go through. So first off, in WWE, of course, they had Clash at the Castle. Unfortunately, a lot of people were saying it was a little bit disappointing. Basically, there was no title changes. Everybody retained their titles. Um, the Morgan retained the women's title. Gunther retained the Intercontinental title. But I think the biggest disappointment was Roman Reigns retaining the unified title. You know, basically making a lot of commentators feel like Clash of the Castle was nothing more than a glorified house show. A lot of disappointment for a lot of the UK fans not seeing one of their guys capture the title on home soil like that. I guess the one big story that came out of it, well, a couple of big stories came out of it. Well, first off, Gunther reunited with his Imperium teammates from NXT. And then one of the other big stories that came out of Clash of the Castle was Dominic Mysterio finally turning on his dad and Edge. And Edge followed up with a promo on Monday night where he basically was calling out Dominique, saying, "Hey, look, he's a man and a WWE superstar." Even though Rey Mysterio came out to kind of beg, kind of ask Edge not to go after his son. Because Edge and Rey Mysterio have had a long history together. They were former WWE Tag Team champions together on a couple of occasions. That was a big story that came out of Classic. And then Bailey and Damage Control, they were really hyping up their win over Bianca Belair, the current WWE Raw Women's champion, as well as Asuka and Alexa Bliss. Now, a lot of people are saying that right now everybody's looking forward to seeing just how Triple H developed these stories. But I think a lot of people were real disappointed with Clash of the Castle, with claiming it ended up being kind of a glorified house show. I mean, why would you pay $50? Now, even though a lot of people paid, a lot of people got the tickets and stuff like that before any matches were announced. Still, it was, I think, for a lot of people, particularly those about the pay-per-view, they're disappointing in not seeing when all the hints seem to be going towards the idea of Drew actually knocking off Roman for at least one of the titles. Also, there's a lot of heat backstage too between WWE and USA in particular right now, because USA wants a more permanent champion. If they're going to renew WWE's television contract, which is coming up soon to be renewed, they want somebody who they know. They don't want somebody who's being part-time like Roman. They want somebody who will be there every week. And this could be playing into some of the contract talks too, TV contract talks for whether or not USA might continue to host Raw. You got Fox is hosting SmackDown. But with that, that we do have one more piece of now. The AEW stuff is probably even bigger in that there's a lot going on there. So, of course, WWE had their Clash of Castle on Saturday, and then put NXT um, Takeover on Sunday. Supposedly competing against All Out. Now, All Out happened, and um, overall it was said to be a relatively good show, but I was disappointed to see Moxley um, have the belt taken from him by Punk. I thought Moxley should have remained the champion. And there's a lot of fallout from it, considering that, let's see, Chris Jericho beat Bryan Danielson. Hobbs, there were a couple of quick matches that people were wondering if maybe one or both participants may have been hurt. Hobbs beat down Ricky Starks in under 5 minutes. And Jade Cargill retained her TBS title in under 5 minutes as well from Athena. And I think a lot of people are not happy about that part of it. But the big story coming out of AEW right now is more of the backstage issues. CM Punk, apparently, and at the media scrum afterwards, CM Punk had a lot to say, and he had a lot to say about a lot of negative things to say about a lot of his locker room mates. Among those, of course, not just Jon Moxley, of course, but Adam Page, Colt Cabana. Now, at one time, he and Colt were best friends, or good friends. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know what the circumstances are, but apparently they're no longer friends. And then he had some words for the executive vice president of AEW, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And now apparently there was some kind of physical altercation after All Out that Punk initiated. So, and those who were involved include Punk, producer, agent, coach, Chris Guy, better known in most wrestling fans as Big Steel, who is also CM Punk's best friend. The members of the Elite, as we mentioned beforehand, Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson. Apparently there was an altercation backstage, a physical, where Punk threw the first punch at Matt Jackson. And it's being said that it's not a work, that there is some legitimate, and it may be problematic for Punk because it could open him up, because now everybody's involved is not talking about it at all. They've been instructed by legal not to talk about it, because apparently this was not a work, it was a shoot. Punk, personally, I think Punk, they should take the title off of Punk already. Khan seemed to like him for some reason, but Punk is apparently causing a lot of and we've been talking about some of the divisions in the locker room. There's been a lot of people have had issues with how Tony Khan's been running the company. You have a lot of top tier talent that's not getting as much time as they feel they need. Malachi Black just recently, I think, asked for and got his release. There was some apparent confirmation on that in the way that he addressed the crowd after House of Black's match with Sting, Darby Allin, and Miro. Anyways, so give me 1 second. I need to go off camera here for another quick moment. I'll be right back. Anyways. All right. So as I was talking about, so a lot of drama happening. You know, a lot of people seem to be unhappy. A lot of drama seems to be, you know, revolving around CM Punk. Now, if this is in fact not a work, if it is a shoot, if it is for real, then CM Punk could very much be in trouble. Now, when I watched some of WrestleMania stuff, right? And they were talking about what happened backstage after all that, and I even commented on there that maybe instead of putting the title on Punk and placating him, they should fire him. Okay, you know, and then I've also seen some commentary where there are a number of professional wrestlers who also just don't feel that Punk's conduct is unprofessional. His conduct as champion is unprofessional. Seems to have a little bit of a big head, kind of full of it. And there was also some talk that during the media scrum, he made an open challenge, apparently, to anybody for any kind of like real fight or something like that. And Bobby Fish, who was another guy who recently left AEW, basically offered to take him up on it. Whether it be boxing or bare knuckles or mixed martial arts or whatever. Punk, I don't think is very much well liked, and he's not really, I think. I think the issues in the locker room go beyond just jealousy. I think Punk is just proving to be a donkey here, and I think a lot of people are just fed up with it. He's had issues with Colt Cabana, Adam Page, now with apparently the EVP. I mean, these in some respects are kind of higher ups than him in the company. Kenny Omega and Matt Nick Jackson, the guys who are executive vice presidents. These are guys who help build the company. Now, I don't know what else is, because now Cody, as everybody knows, Cody left the company as well. But it was never revealed why he actually left the company, what issues there were. I don't know if any of those issues revolved around Punk or not. Punk and Rhodes were in the WWE together back there in the mid-2010s, I believe, early to mid-2010s. But I don't know if they had many interactions or not. But it seems like a lot of the locker room in AEW are having issues with Punk and with Tony Khan and Tony Khan's booking mentality. And it doesn't help that these guys have a lot of top heavy talent. They can't seem to give guys enough time to really let storylines flourish. They just signed, of course, even though Bobby Fish and now it looks like maybe Malachi Black we know Bobby Fish left the company. Malachi Black may be leaving the company. And yet they just signed in W. Morrison. Now, Morrison's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong. A lot of potential there. But right now, they're not really, it's like they're not really doing good on the booking side of it, I don't think. I mean, some people complain about WWE's booking too of late, but AEW, they just got too many top-heavy talents here. Now it looks like they're setting up an MJF Punk feud over the World Heavyweight title. The Elite just, of course, won the trios tournament, so we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. It looks like I have somebody here. Hello. Hope you're having a good week. It looks like we have a third person here. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Yeah, so now on tomorrow night's Dynamite, of course, there's going to be some stuff going. Let's see. I know Daniel Garcia will be once again challenging for the Pure title against Wheeler Yuta, RH Pure title, and I think, as I recall, I think Death Triangle will be taking on Best Friends in a trios match with Orange Cat. And this is some of the fallout from All Out as well, and All Out 0 Hour, where Pac, after defeating Kip Sabian in a match for the All Atlantic title, was about to do an interview with Tony Schiavone, and Orange Cassidy came out. Bastard Pac was not too happy with that, and basically called Cassidy out for being a clown. Said, yeah, you know, we've been through this before, dude. You know, get to the back of the line because you're nothing more than a clown. So I think, you know, we might be seeing the makings of a feud between Death Triangle of Pac and Ray Phoenix and Penta Oscura versus Best Friends of Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and of course Orange Cassidy. And Danhausen, as Timothy mentioned earlier, Danhausen was also been hanging out with them. So, and we've seen Adam Page, of course, hanging out with Dark Order. So yeah, so that's a lot of what's going on the wrestling side of things. Let's see. So we're coming up on an hour and a half here. So it might be a good time to start winding things down a bit, unless you guys have any questions or comments about what we talked about tonight. Anything you'd like to chime in on or talk about or anything like that. Last night, of course, RJ and I talked a little bit, you know, with this being early September, for those, as I said earlier, who grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, this time of year not only marked the beginning of the school year, but also the time in which the new fall lineups would start up, particularly the cartoon lineups, particularly Saturday morning cartoon, you know, where we would get together and we'd have a chance to get our favorite Cheerios, whether that were Honey Nut Cheerios or Count Chocula or Boo Berry, you know, or anything like that, Apple Jacks, all that good stuff. So let's see if you guys have anything you'd like to ask or add to the conversation from what we've talked about tonight. I'm all ears. If not, we'll probably start to wind down. We'll probably get ready to do this day in Nietzsche history. History! Over sure, cut the lights, hit the night's the night. No more rehearsing or learning our parts. We know every part by heart. On with the show, this is it. Da 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 da. And all the lights will hit. On with the show, this is it. So, anyways, let's see now. Papa Bears, Papa Bears, Papa Bears, Papa Bears, Alvin, Simon, Theodore, do, 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 do. All right, well, it doesn't look like there's not much more people to say, so I guess we will start to wind down then here. Today is Tuesday, September the 6th, 2022. But let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! So, anyways, first, we're going to head back 25 years ago today, as soon as I can find the cursor, at least. I'm going to head back 25 years ago today, as on this date in 1997, the USA Network animated series Duckman would air its last episode on this date back 25 years ago today. So 25 years ago today, the USA Network's Duckman would end its run after 4 seasons. With the voice talents, of course, of Jason Alexander from Seinfeld fame, longtime voice actor aficionados, Greg Berger at music, E.G. Daily, even Dweezil Zappa lent his voice to this show. Of course, this was apparently an animated series that was based on a one-shot comic from Dark Horse called from 1990. So Duckman would conclude its run on USA on this date back in 1997. So there we go with that one. Now moving on to the next piece in each history here. As we head back 20 years ago today on this date in 2002, from Vineland, New Jersey, in the U.S. Flea Market in New Jersey, Combat Zone Wrestling would have its Jersey Re-Invasion show on this night. The main event saw the Hate Club of Nate Hatred and Nick Gage retain the CZW tag team titles over Justice Pain and Rock and Rebel. We also saw in a Big Japan Wrestling Deathmatch title, Wife Beater retain the title over Ty Street. Now, there was a professional wrestler named Wife Beater, okay, who wrestled the Northeast Independent primarily for Combat Zone, but also out of Jersey All Pro. Of course, one of the things about his gimmick was he would wear white beaters. Now, those of you, as I understand, a white beater was a white t-shirt, white sleeveless t-shirt. Basically, it was the one that you guys kind of know what I'm saying. But so Wife Beater would retain the BGW Deathmatch title over Ty Street. You had Ruckus defeating Sanjay Dutt, who is currently the manager of Jay Lethal and Lethal Connection and All Elite. And the Backseat Boys of Trent Acid and Johnny Cashmere being the New School of Chris Cadd and GQ. Had the Dark Carnival defeating Big L, Craze, and Merc in a 6-man tag match. And in a battle royal, Hurricane Kid outlasted 7 other individuals in a battle royal to win the battle royal. So on this date, 20 years ago today, CZW held its Jersey Re-Invasion event. And now getting on to the last piece in each history for the night. And on this date, 15 years ago today, the 5th and final issue of IDW's Star Trek Klingons Blood Will Tell miniseries went on sale on this date. The 5th and final issue of the Star Trek Klingons Blood Will Tell miniseries went on sale on this date back in 2007 for $1.99. It was 32 pages. So there we go with that one. With that, guys, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Let's see. Don't forget, we'll of course be back here tomorrow with more Neach news, and all that. Also, don't forget this Friday night, Rick Piper will be my co-host as we get started on our May of 1939 coverage of our historical comic retrospect. We'll be looking at DC comics, the comics that went on sale in DC. We'll be taking a quick peek at the first issue of Superman, the Superman title, which was a little bit different it started out a little differently from what it eventually became. We'll be talking a little bit about that. We'll be learning a little bit about the Ultra Humanite. We'll be reading, of course, from Action Comics number 13, among other stories. But I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow night and every night at this time as we prepare for we get ready for the latter part of the week here. Thank everybody for being here. Hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.